Hey there, folks. So you get my shadow so you can actually see me. So I can actually see me. Adam Davis with Adam Davis Real Estate. Decided to take advantage of this beautiful day and walk home from the gym. Trying to get swole. And it's nice and warm outside. Got some groceries on the way. But if you've followed me at all for the last 9 months or so, you've probably heard of the NAR class action settlement that's been going on in the real estate land. And the summary of it, for those who don't know, is that at the beginning of a relationship with a buyer agent, buyers, agents, and the buyer negotiate the buyer's representation fee. And that's to establish a baseline of compensation for the buyer's agent and enable transparency throughout the transaction. Now, this has always been negotiable. It could be 3%, it could be 2%, it could be nothing, literally nothing. It could be 10%, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you and your agent agree to. Or if you're an agent, it's whatever you and your buyer agree to. And then that device, the buyer representation agreement, is then taken into the transaction and used to negotiate compensation with the seller, if any. And only very ignorant people, and uninformed people, agents and non-agents alike, believe that buyer's agent, or any agent, seller's agent, doesn't matter, compensation has been set in stone. Among those idiots are Ketchmark, the attorney who prosecuted this case, judge and jury and so on, who awarded him his victory or whatever, and NAR, in fact, for settling. But the nuts and bolts of it have never changed, ever. All sides' compensation has been negotiable. It's always been a viable option for the buyer's agent to work for free. It's always been a viable option in most locations for the seller's agent, or the seller rather, to not offer any compensation, and for the buyer to pay the buyer's compensation, if any. Now, in Oregon, the RMLS required until this lawsuit an offer of compensation to be included in the MLS. Obviously no longer the case. Almost everywhere else, though, not the case. So Oregon was a little behind the eight ball. No pun intended as far as that goes. But it's Oregon, so no one's super surprised. But now, the multi-billion-dollar lawsuit winner, who has complained because he tried to sell a house and was mad that he, quote-unquote, had to offer commission to the buyer's agent, who he believed didn't do anything, has started his own real estate company. So he called this price fixing when he established this lawsuit. And the irony is that his real estate company, Landian, is now price fixing for buyers. Not only are they price fixing, I don't know if they're operating without a broker's license or not, but they are attempting to utilize real estate agents to do their business. So not only are they not abiding by their own standards, but they are trying to capitalize on the very industry that they tried to dismantle, and the very professionals that they decided or attempted to dismantle. Whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I work with good clients and I teach them the way of this transaction and advise them. And if you're a good agent, or if you're a savvy buyer or seller, you already understand these ins and outs. And if your agent isn't coaching you through these things and advising you, then you probably need a new agent. But Landian, they've introduced their product to the world with a base fee to see houses, flat, non-negotiable rather, $50 per house. A base fee, non-negotiable, to facilitate a transaction, $200, and a base fee, non-negotiable, to view multiple houses, up to five, actually. So the irony there is incredible. And then here's where it gets a little irritating for professionals in the industry. The buyer's agent who might take on these showings or facilitate these transactions only gets paid once the transaction is closed. And the technology, quote unquote, is, according to them, allows buyers to, quote, import, end quote, properties that they want to see into this platform, Landian. I don't know if any of you have ever used Zillow before, but if you have, you know that all the properties are there pretty much, except for the off-market ones, which they wouldn't be on Landian either. And also you can arrange a showing for free. And then, only then, if you like your buyer's agent, do you have to even think about entering into any kind of professional representation or relationship. And again, Landian, $50 just to see a house. I will show you a house right now for $0. I happen to enjoy my job. But the other part is that agents aren't going to work, at least good agents who know their worth, aren't going to work for $0 up to $1,700 or $1,600 or whatever it is. If for free, until and if that transaction actually takes life. It's just insane. Quick little BT dub. I just got out of the shower. But the other thing to think about with this whole Landian thing where buyers only get paid once they do blah, blah, blah. That's always been the case anyway. All agents don't get paid until the transaction is complete, let alone entered into. So they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist in that sense. They're trying to accomplish something that has already been in place. And it's just amazing to me. Anyway, stop. I don't know if you've ever worked with an attorney before. I have. Real estate attorneys or a doctor even. Like if you go to a doctor and you say, I'm going to give you $50 to look at me and $120 to diagnose me, and then $1,600 or $1,700 to cure me, but only if the cure is effective. I don't think the doctor would take that. We'd lose all our doctors. I don't know if you've ever worked with an attorney before. If you have, you probably have noticed something similar where I'm gonna sit on my porch because it's nice out. An attorney, if you say, I mean, some of them offer free consultations and stuff like that. That's normal. And in fact, that's what us agents do. But if you ever, I mean, I wonder how much this guy paid his lawyer to prosecute his $50 billion case. It's a good thing they won, because that lawyer was not working for free until they won. And most lawyers don't work on the basis of winning, or the assumption or the hope of winning. unless it's a massive class action lawsuit, which this was, but it wasn't until it became one. Or any other professional. Plumber, they're not going to fix it, and then, if they don't fix it, you don't pay them. You owe money. You will owe what's called a mechanic's lien on that property until you pay them, even if they don't fix it all the way. Some good companies offer buyer guarantees and stuff like that, but you could lose a court case. You could not have your cancer cured. You could, go to a psychologist and pay them per hour, and your mental derangement is still there when it's done. So I think this is absurd. It's amusing, but also, if you've ever thought about buying a house or looked at buying a house, you've probably been on Zillow. The basis for their platform, the argument is that buyer's agents, all they're good for is finding the property, and then once the property is identified, the buyer's agent passes them off into the transaction and doesn't talk to them again. That has literally never been the case with me. If you've ever bought a house before with me, you know that we've negotiated and won. I've never lost a negotiation. I've met agreeable terms with the seller in that case, or with the buyer as far as that goes. But we've never conceded in an unsatisfactory way. And also, almost every one of my buyers has found the house first, but I guarantee you they wouldn't have been able to negotiate the transaction after finding the house. Like, everybody looks at Zillow. You know the house you want. You know the house better than I do. I'm not you. I'm not going to find your house and tell you this is the one you have to buy, which is what Landian seems to think has been happening. Maybe there's just bad real estate agents in Kansas City or wherever they are in Missouri. But long story short, this is getting long already. I have an idea. I've had this idea. I've got 3 or 4 people in my inner circle, and I've pitched an idea kind of along these lines to them, and it's way better. It's way better. This piece of software, it accomplishes the same thing without eliminating an entire workforce, and without eliminating the buyer's ability to negotiate, and without eliminating the buyer from an opportunity to gain good representation, which Landian will do, which all these lawsuits does. Already buyers are not able to pay for houses or pay for the closing costs because they can't afford to close and pay an agent when the sellers aren't offering compensation and stuff like that. So it leaves buyers at a distinct disadvantage, especially like VA buyers, first-time home buyers, people like that for whom a specific amount of cash is required in order to close this deal. So it's incredibly discriminatory, this whole lawsuit, the whole victory, quote unquote. So it's a loss for people who need help buying homes. For a lot of people who like negotiating their own terms and don't feel like they need an agent, they already don't use them, so it's not going to touch them. The people who want an agent who prefer that layer of abstraction and mitigation from making contact with the transaction, who want like anonymity, this is irrelevant to them because they're going to work with an agent regardless. They're going to pay their agent because they recognize the value of a professional advisor. And if you're considering buying or selling a house and you want advice, if you want help, you're going to talk to an agent. You might talk to an attorney, I guess, but most attorneys aren't licensed agents, and they're not professionals in this field. So you're going to be seeking advice from people who don't know what they're talking about. If all of that sounds good to you, by all means use Landian. Best of luck with the agents who you get to walk you through your deal, which is literally just to provide you with paperwork and walk away. And if you want to know more about my version of this platform, hit me up. Let me know if you're interested, because I guarantee you it's light years ahead of this Landian deal, and it's gonna change a lot of the industry, and it's gonna change a lot of people's lives, and also perspective of, it's gonna weed out the non-professionals who are working in this business. So anyway, all that is to say is, buyers and sellers, you always and have always and will always have your full capacity to negotiate your own fees. Please do. If you're uncomfortable with what your agent is suggesting for their fee, just say, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to pay this. Let's figure out another way to do it. Or you're fired, But otherwise, if you found real estate professionals to be valuable to you, if you've worked with real estate professionals before and they've been of value to you, let me know. I'm eager to hear, obviously success stories. Also, tell me about your horror stories if you've worked with agents who've been a nightmare, because they do exist. I work with them all the time. And, as an industry, I think we want to help people. We have helped people. We do help people. I've helped first-time home buyers get into the home of their dreams. I've helped ninth-time home buyers get into the home of their dreams, and sellers sell for top dollar in 30 days or less. And it's an important business that we're a part of. It's a life-changing business. Not for us. I can't tell you how much we pay in fees and commissions to our own brokerages, and give up in commissions and stuff to keep transactions together. And that's not always the case, but each case may vary. So anyway, Adam Davis with Adam Davis Real Estate. Not venting, just kind of calling him out because it's ludicrous. I'm really upset on behalf of the first-time home buyers and underrepresented communities who are going to suffer from this ridiculous lawsuit. And the NAR's settlement, because they're not representing the majority of good agents. They're only representing the people who aren't doing good work in this instance, and who are sabotaging the industry by being lazy and sloppy and not knowing their own freaking contracts. So anyway, Adam Davis Real Estate. That became event at the end, but oh, God bless you. Hope you're having a good day, and I'll see you next time.